All right, back again with this book about America and the classical tradition. So basically the fact that in the classical period, like the Greco-Roman period, at least from, what is it, like 500 at least 500 to 800 BC to I don't know, the time of Christianity or something, that they basically knew about America, or that they had a lot of traditions relating to the land across the sea under the planet, antipodal to Afro-Eurasia. And so anyway, this is one of the articles by James Rom called Novus Orbis and Seneca in the Renaissance. So I think this is to do with the Thule tradition, because this is the quote from Seneca. It says, Venient annis secula seres. I don't know, I think secula means world or something. Venia, anyway, I don't know. Oceanus is the ocean. Tethysque Novus Orbis, so there's like maybe orbs. Earth Ultima Thule. So maybe the Terrace Ultima, it might be another way to say Antipodes, like to say the opposite side of the planet, and then Thule is like the name for it. So I think what a lot of people say is that Thule is Iceland, because it was reputed to be accessed by sailing north, but that also can apply to America, because you can sail in the summertime north from Europe to America, and it's probably much quicker than sailing west. Go kind of northwest a bit, but mostly north. From I think the traditional route was from to go from Europe to Britain, and then sail from Scotland, maybe go to Orkney, to Shetland, to the Faroe Islands, to Iceland, to Greenland, to Newfoundland, to Nova Scotia, to Labrador, whatever. Like, in all that time, no stretch of that is more than like, I don't know, a couple 100 miles, I would think. Like, I'm not sure the exact distances, but they're pretty close, like it was was not any great feat really to reach America from Europe, at least during the summertime, when you could go over the northern route. I'm just assuming it would be harder to do in the winter due to the weather, but I don't really know shit about like these things. But anyway, so I'm gonna be out of town. I'm going, like, I guess, whitewater rafting, and so I'm going to be out of town for the weekend, and then I'm going to be hanging out with my cousin in Richmond. So, but I just wanted to read some more of this fascinating book, this $600 book that I got from the library for free. which, has so much evidence about pre-Columbian knowledge of America in Europe. So I'm not sure where I left off. I guess I was talking about Medea. Anyway. Oh yeah, I think I was trying to explain how extra doesn't mean extra Ptolemaeum. Like I think the Vatican faction was saying that America was extra Ptolemaeum, meaning that it's outside of Ptolemaeum. That's what extra really, I think that's more of the literal meaning of extra, even though we tend to use it to just mean ultra or something, but like extra legal can basically mean illegal. So I think basically when it says, he talks about how there was, debate about this in the 16th century. He says, in what follows, I shall trace the role of this passage and other texts connected with it in 16th century discussions of ancient knowledge of the Americas. So during the 16th century, the 1500s, basically, immediately following Columbus's voyage, because that was 1492 or whatever. Yeah. Sailed the ocean blue. See, it's like that shows why the ancients recorded knowledge in songs, in rhyming songs, because it's, and we still use that, even though we destroyed all the best ones, but we still make up our new little ones, that it's a, very basic one, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. But because of that, I can be certain that it wasn't 1493, because 1493 doesn't rhyme with blue. So anyway, it's not for, frivolous reasons that the ancients preserved knowledge through rhyming songs. But I think that what this actually was, these discussions at the time, like in Columbus's time, the discussions about it was basically the Vatican and Spain, like the Spanish Castilian government or whatever, and the Vatican, versus who were saying that, oh, Columbus discovered America, we never knew it was there, and all these traditions about a land across the ocean are just so weird coinkydink. So that was the Pope and the Spanish monarchy versus the Renaissance humanist philosophers who knew better. Who do you think the modern world goes with? 100% goes with the Pope, and just shits all over all the actual educated men who said otherwise and knew otherwise. Anyway. So this latter group, which is the Pope and the Spanish, the Castilian crown or something, this latter group looks skeptically and even scornfully upon ancient texts. See, this is like the Soyance people already, the Vatican started this already, they just are so scornful. They're like, oh, this conspiracy theorist, fake news. I cannot even gonna look at that stuff. Like, come on. I don't know. It has that vibe. Let's see. I'm not sure. Should I get into these? The huge role of the Atlantis myth in 16th century literature has been examined extensively by the identification of America with the unnamed continent beyond Plato's Atlantis or with Atlantis itself was useful in that it furnished a route by which men and animals had come to the New World, and because it explained the subsequent loss of communication between Europe and America after the inundation of Atlantis. So this is still like a popular theory, and possibly with basis if Atlantis was indeed the Azores and Madeira and the Canaries. Although I think they did stay in touch. I think the people in the Canaries still were in touch with America. The theory has enjoyed great longevity. Oh yeah, yep. North America was still designated Atlantis on some European maps as late as the mid-18th century. But to me, that just doesn't fit because story of Atlantis, I mean, A, it sank, and B, it's said to block Europeans from venturing into the Atlantic by the mud shoals left by its subsidence, like whatever those mounds, like underwater ridges and stuff, like, so that obviously can't be America. America is not close enough to stop Europeans from going into the Atlantic Ocean. Anyway, so there's a lot of reasons why it's not America, but America is mentioned in it because there is mentioned a continent on the other side of it, which is bigger, which shows why it certainly can't be itself America because there's no other continent. There's no other continent beyond America that's bigger than America. Anyway, the de mirabilibus auscultationibus, along with Diodorus Siculus' Bibliotheca Historica, preserved the report of an accidental Carthaginian, so I think that's a Phoenician, Carthage, discovery of a fertile land in the far west. This story, like Plato's Atlantis myth, served to explain not only the inhabitation of the New World, but the subsequent severing of the transoceanic link, not in this case by flood, but by a decree of the Carthaginian Senate, which had forbidden any further exploration of the new lands. And so Humboldt reported this. So Humboldt was the first legit scientist to come to Mesoamerica and study the culture, and he recognized the influence of Egypt and Mesopotamia on that culture because he actually that was back when people actually got an education, he knew 10 languages. He wasn't like these idiots who call themselves experts nowadays. The land discovered by these Carthaginians was identified with America by Oviedo in his Historia General de las Indias, 1535, as part of an elaborate proof of Spanish title to the New World. His theory is refuted at length by Fernando Columbus. No shit, right? In chapter 10 of the Historia del Almirante. So some guy named Columbus, of course, wants to claim that no way, man, Columbus was first. Montaigne discusses this theory as well as that of Atlantis in the essay Descannibales, the strange tale of a journey to the island of Kronos, told by the nameless Carthaginian in the De Faci in Orb Lunae, was frequently connected with Columbus's discoveries. So this is referring to Plutarch's on the face in the lunar orb. So, and which goes on at great length about America, different people voyaging across the ocean, both island hopping from Britain to, to America from over the northern route, and going westerly from Africa to probably South America. So frequently, yada yada. See Humboldt. So Humboldt was familiar with this. So he not only did he recognize, pre-Columbian contact of different cultures in Mesoamerica itself, but he also knew that the Europeans were aware of America in classical times. And again, he's the founder of American, Euro-American anthropology. But yet, look how his modern supposed, the people who are supposed to be carrying on that torch or whatever, but they're just extinguishing it at any cost, basically. So, in the introduction to the Leob Classical Library edition of Plutarch's Dialogue by Harold Chernus, Plutarch's Moralia, Volume 12, 1957, and notes. Not sure if he's saying that he's talking about something in 1957. I don't know, I guess, but just different people mentioning this. For the astronomer Johannes' support of this theory, see my Lucian and yada yada. Giampus had recounted the legend of an island called Meropis, situated far beyond the limits of the Orbis Terrarum, identified with America by Perizonius in his 1701 edition of the Alien Ad Loc, see Humboldt. So this is awkwardly written. I think he means that Meropis was identified with America. Or yeah, I don't know. I was thrown off by this part of it or something, but yeah, I think that's somebody taking that view. Yada yada. So, question of the newness of the New World, among which Seneca's Medea was most prominent and therefore most subject to attack. So it's like they started actually attacking all these ancient things because they couldn't accept that they got it right when Columbus was talking about, I'm going to reach India, and all these ancient writers said, no, like, there's a whole continent over there. So this latter group, these are the haters, the Pope and stuff. This latter group looks skeptically and even scornfully upon ancient texts which called into question the newness of the New World, among which Seneca's Medea was most prominent and therefore most subject to attack. So even the concept of America being the New World was a total psyop. Like, nobody had ever thought, like, most of the regular people didn't consider America to be the New World. They considered it to be this ancient land, and, in some traditions, it's the original land, the land of creation. But, like in Dante's cosmology, it's where Eden is. So even the term New World was just, a complete psyop, and I'm sure a lot of the actual most of the educated people and probably most of the people generally knew better, but it was just, foisted on the world by the Catholic Church and by the kings. So this debate over ancient awareness of America also took on larger resonance in an era which was constantly seeking to define its relationship to Greece and Rome. And thus my discussion of Seneca will necessarily involve the issue of cultural continuity between antiquity and the Renaissance. So I think Seneca was Roman. The discovery of America, if truly a discovery and not a recovery of long forgotten lands, presented this era with the possibility not only of a novus orbis, but a novus ordo seclorum, a new historical, scientific, and religious epoch distinct from the world of the past. So, I don't know. He's saying, I'm not sure if this is a meaningful point he's making or not. Novus ordo seclorum is a phrase, the new order of the ages. I think it's from the Roman poet Virgil, and was quoted by the Continental Congress's secretary, Charles Thomson, when he crafted the national seal of the United States. But I'm not sure if that completely is reliant on this. I feel like this whole psyop is more to do with the Catholic Church's power and not about creating any real new possibilities other than plunder. Claims of a prior discovery, on the other hand, invalidated that possibility and reinforced a cyclical scheme in which the Renaissance was merely a rebirth of a Greco-Roman civilization. Seneca's Medea could, depending on how it was read, be used to support either form of self-definition, and its varying interpretations influenced the Renaissance sense of the past at a number of levels. First, at the level of personal mythopoesis, Christopher Columbus was fitted into the Medea prophecy in a way that paralleled and reinforced his connections to the Christian Messiah. Second, on a national and political level, the Spanish attempted to use the Medea and other Roman imperial texts as justification for their own program of